Right, okay guys, we will get started. Thank you so much for coming to join the Creating Careers Ask Us Anything Health and Social Care webinar. This evening's webinar is focused on social care. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. If our guests, not our speakers, are happy to see you, but if all our students, teachers and parents could keep their cameras and mics off just to help with the bandwidth in the call. Any questions that you have, please pop them in the chat box. I've got the questions that were submitted in advance, which I'll pose to our speakers a little bit later. But if there's anything else you'd like, just pop it straight in there, and then we'll go through that at the end, and there will be a specific question and answer session there. I think that's everything. I will just briefly introduce myself. My name's Sarah. I am from a team called Shaping Futures, and we support young people from the Liverpool City region with their next steps into higher education or further education. So your follow-up communications on this event will be from myself. And I will hand over to Leon now to take it away.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us over this next hour. We've got a fun-packed hour in relation to all things social care in relation to this event. And this monthly webinar is part of a series in terms of a variety of key roles and careers that we're looking to shine a spotlight on in relation to our 350 plus different careers available in health and social care. And what we're looking for is to enable you to become part of our health and social care family in a professional network. So whilst it may be social care that you're looking at or another healthcare profession, it's great to have that real overview of the variety of roles and have an understanding how each and every role relates to one another, whether it be nursing within social care or allied health professions within social care, or in terms of the variety of other roles that our fantastic speakers can tell you far more about. So without further ado, I'm going to pass myself over to Sharon.
Hello everybody, lovely for you to join us on this super sunny evening. My name is Sharon Blaney and I work for Liverpool City region and combined authority, and I specifically work with NHS and healthcare, specifically to help young people like yourselves to gain knowledge and understanding and awareness of opportunities that are out there for you within this sector. So to help you access employment or training, whatever that be, and have an informed decision-making process for you. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is introduce, we've got some amazing speakers. Our first speaker this afternoon is a gentleman called Jose de la Cruz. Jose is from Liverpool Social Care Partnership, and he's now the training coordinator there, but actually started as a care assistant, as a care worker, shall I say, and he came over from Spain to do that. So I'm going to hand over to Jose, and thank you, Jose, if you'd like to take it from there.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Jose. Yes, I'm originally from Spain. I have already been here in England for the last 21 years. When I first came, I had no understanding of social care. I had never seen anything in Spain. I've never done any of these. I had no qualifications. I had no experience. So it was quite a daunting task trying to find out what to do, what job to do. I was very lucky because in one of my applications to an organization, they in the interview, they saw something, whatever they saw, I still don't know. But they decided to give me a chance. So I started my career as a support worker. Then within a year and a half, I became the team leader in the house. Then I became team leader in other houses within the same organization. Then I moved to another organization. I became the service coordinator. For the last 7-8 years, I have been the training coordinator for Liverpool Social Care Partnership. So you can see that I have had a very involved career in health and social care. And this is a bit of what I am going to bring to you. So I believe that one of the things that you have done is that you had to answer a few questions. It have been very useful to see some of those answers in terms of what do you understand, what do you think that social care is? What do you think that social care is going to and to people supported, and how is the social care looks like in the times that we are living in. So if I get the next slide, I will be able to tell you a few of the things that social care does for us. Social care is that practical support? Yeah, that's true. Is that practical support where you complete tasks with the people? Is that practical support where you support them to get ready, to go places, to clean the house, task oriented? True, but it's so much more than that. It's also about organizing a day, prioritizing what needs to be done in the day and all the things that need to happen in the life of the person. So it's also about the problem solving. It's also about maintaining a life in the community where the person goes to appointments, where the person is also able to go to facilities in the community, meaning restaurants and cinemas, meaning also parks. So the person is involved as much as any other person in the community, and that has to start from the worker, because the person many times will not be able to manage by themselves. But also it's about that emotional support, because some people have to make sense of themselves in terms of the worth they have, the value that they have for the community, for their own families, for their own in their own lives. And that can only be done through conversations with you as the worker. So is so much more than just going to a house and doing tasks with people. You are going to be probably the only person they will see on that day. So you are going to be or become the reference point, the person looked up to see what are we doing today. So it takes a worker that is able to understand that the life of the person has to make sense to the person, and therefore has to deal with the day today the way that the person will want. So very soon you will find, very soon you will find that it's about maintaining their independence. And independence doesn't mean the ability to complete tasks. Very early in your career, you will find that independence means to take control over the lives. And that control over the lives means to be able to make choices, to be able to make decisions, to be able to have some control of what happens, when it happens, who it happens with, where do we go. Many times we will find that we do things for people. We do things for them rather than with them. We do things in their best interest, true, but we forget to ask them if that is what they wanted or if that is how they wanted it. So it's about offering that dignity, that control over their lives, so they can take precedence, so they can be the person that they are, and we take them from there. So if you are asking them to make choices, you will also have to give them the information to go with those choices. It's not never a question of saying, oh, it's your choice, whatever you say, whatever you decide. No, it's if you choose this is going to happen. If you choose that, this is going to happen. So as a worker, very soon, you will also have to understand that you need to know. You have to be that person that knows nearly everything. So when the person supported comes to you and says, and now what, and now where, and now when, you can then offer that information. It's needed for that choice that you're asking them to make. You see in the slide, yes, it's about safeguarding people. It's about that protection. It's about making sure that the person has an environment that is not discriminatory, that is not abusive, where they do not come into contact with any harm, whether it's physical or emotional or psychological. True. But it's not only that, it's so much more than the safeguarding. It's about ensuring that you don't prevent people from taking risks. So you risk assess, you minimize that risk to the point that, that you can support the person with those risks, even if you do not agree with the choices that they are making. You do not have to agree all the time. What he's asking of you is that you support the person, not that you take control over those lives. And therefore, sometimes you will have to say, okay, I don't agree with you, but if that is what you want, that is what we will do. So you can see that it takes a very courageous person to support people when you try to envisage a life for them, and that is not the life that they want. And you have to then adapt and very quickly be able to say, yes, whatever you say, whatever you want. And that is the type of social care that we want. A social care that makes a life make sense to the person. Where does it take place, and how is the mapping of that social care? Well, if I get the next slide, I will be able to show you a few things in terms of where social care happens. The next slide, please. There you are. Many places, social care is not just limited to 1 or 2 care homes somewhere. It happens in the community. It happens in the residential settings. And those residential settings could be varied. You could have in there a mixture of people, and each of them will have different needs. And covering those needs will require that person that is going to support them. Residential settings could take a shape in supporting people with addiction, supporting people with mental health issues, supporting people that is just elderly, and supporting people with dementia. And those residential settings means that that is the place of residence, that's where they live. And you go to those places as a worker to make sure that you take that life to the full, you take that life to what they would like to be. Shelter housing, extra care housings, where they are tenants in their own right, and what happens there is that you support them to maintain their tenancy, and you support them in a way that still promotes their dignity. The domiciliary care, that is very, very prominent in social care, is going to a particular place, one particular house, to support one person to do one particular task, and that's all. So you go probably to Mrs. Jones from 9 to 10, and then you move on to Mrs. Smith from 10:30 until 1 o'clock, and it's one particular task, one particular person, and that is very prominent in the community, because if they didn't have that worker, they wouldn't be able to do that. You also have daycares or day centers where the person goes during the day and they are supported during the day. Then at night time, they go to their own houses or they go to their own residence. They may be supported by others, or they may not need any support at all. And then you have more complex places like respite and convalescence homes and rehabilitation. So those are where you would go for a particular time of your life where you are needed because of illness, because of some break time, or because of some rest time from your own life. And then you will go back to the normal place, the normal residence you have. So that is the mapping, that is the shape of social care at the moment. And in terms of the roles that you will need to fulfill, in terms of the care that is going to need, there you are. If I have the next slide, you will have in there a lot of those different roles that are needed to cover in social care. Each of those will have their own responsibilities. Each of those will have their own job description. But if you see in there, we do not need only people who will go to the to social care to support somebody. We also need what they call ancillary people, all those who are still related to social care, but they're not hands-on. If you understand that expression, the hands-on, the frontline staff. You need owners, you need administrators, you need caretakers, you need office managers, accountants, gardeners. All those still provide very valuable time and very valuable tasks in social care. So you can see it's not just about supporting people on a day-to-day. They need an infrastructure behind them. That is what we are going to need to cover for them. You can see many people need it. We probably need, by 2025, there were some studies that said we will need nearly 3 million people to come into the care sector to make sure we cover all aspects of. Now, in terms of skills and qualities of the people that you will need, I was told that you had some questions that you asked, that you had to answer in terms of the value that the values that somebody will need to bring into social. If I have the next slide, or the next two slides, because this is the question because I was told that you would have answered some of that. Let me tell you about, can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Let me tell you about those qualities that are never told, those qualities that are needed, but we never reflect on them. Yes, you will need to be a listener. You will need to have that problem-solving skills that says, if something happens, what do we do now? One of the things in your job description will always be, you need to be in a position to know what to do at all times. Not necessarily that you have to do it yourself. You have to be in a position to know what to do. So you need to be that problem solver. You need to be the one that knows that if you cannot solve it, you need to go to someone. And who are those people and where are they? So you need to be that problem solver. Reliable and dependable. If you said that you were going to do something and you don't do it, very soon you will find that people start having a trust issue. That relationship is already broken and they will not believe you anymore. So if you say that you are going to do something, you have to be the person that does it. And you have to be the person that takes them with you. Otherwise, very soon, you will find that they say that expression, oh, yes, 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 whatever, but it will never happen. No. You will have to be resilient. And what we say by resilient, you will have to understand that it's never about you. Even if one day you have one of the people that we support, even if that day they are shouting at you because you are the person there, it's never about you. Even if they are telling you are always the one you have been doing and it's never about you. It's always about a need hasn't been met. And you have to find out what that need was. You have two choices. If you choose to get into that argument, eventually you're not going to solve anything. You're going to get the person in a bad mood. You're going to get yourself in a bad mood. You will end up saying, today was a terrible day. And you're going to start asking yourself, is this worth? The second choice is that you find out what that need was. What the person is saying with, you're always telling me, and never, that always telling me means that we never count with their own choice. We never take into account their decisions. You're always telling me, you're never asking me. So rather than feel that it's all about you, it's about the person, the need hasn't been met. So you need to be resilient and not take it personally, ever. It's never about you, even when they're shouting at you, even when they're telling you, even when they're accusing you, it's never about you. It's about a need that hasn't been met, and you need to find out what need and how you can meet it. And for that reason, you have to be that enabler, the one that instead of doing things for people will enable people to do things for themselves. You would have heard many times the expression, if you give me a fish today, I will eat today. But if you teach me to fish, then I will eat every day. And that's what you have to do. And that's what I want to share with you. I supported a person, I supported a woman, let me call her Brenda, who will eat anything and everything that, that you put in front of her. She will eat anything and everything that you put in front of her. So that's the point, you put it in there. So one day, as a team leader in the house, I needed to see beyond that. And I said, Brenda, would you like to prepare your lunch? And she said, oh, I can't. Okay, will you like to learn? And she said, yes. Okay, so let's go to the kitchen and you can prepare your sandwich. We went through nearly the whole loaf of bread. We went to nearly the whole tub of margarine. The end result, you can imagine, by any standards, could not be called a sandwich. But she ate it. She ate it because she has made it herself. Now, the second day, she didn't go through the whole loaf of bread. She didn't go through the whole tub of margarine. The end result, by any standards, could still not be called a sandwich, but I have never seen anybody eating with so much delight because she made it herself. Now, the third day, she was very good. She only used a bit of bread. She didn't use much of the margarine. The end result still could not be called a sandwich. Oh my goodness, she enjoyed so much of that. Now, I would like to tell you, do you know what she did the fourth day? The fourth day, she came to me and said, do you want me to make you a sandwich? I said, yes, of course. But there you are. She made a sandwich that by any standards could not be called a sandwich. Oh my goodness, I have never eaten so much delight a sandwich because Brenda made it for me. Do you know what she did the fifth day? The fifth day she came to me and said, now that I know how to make a sandwich, will you teach me how to make my own meal? That is a worker that is looking at a life that is not limited. If you keep making sandwiches for Brenda, Brenda will eat anything and everything that you put in front of her. That's not the point. You have to be innovative. You have to look beyond. You have to be that person that says, okay, what are your talents? What are your skills? What are your abilities? And take them to the limit. Otherwise, you will have to do that sandwich every single day of your life. And Brenda will not eat unless you make a sandwich, whereas that wasn't the point. Does it make sense? You see what the caliber of people that we need in there, not the one that is taking me day by day, but the one that is looking beyond and developing my skills. And that then will take us on how you can access social care. And I think that if you go to the last slide, or the last two slides, is the last thing that I will tell you then. The next slide, please. If you go through the qualification side of it, you have the possibility of going through pre-employment courses where you are given a first approach to care. You can go through an apprenticeship where you would work with the employer, and at the same time as you work, you will be completing a qualification. If you want to do MBQs and QCF courses before you go into care, that's an option. If you then go to a place of work, it's very likely that the employer will want you to complete a national diploma, a health and social care diploma. If you have it already, that is something that you bring as a bonus to the organization. And you can also go through degrees, and there are many people that are needed in terms of psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, managers that will have those degrees in management and social care. So the options are endless. If you go through the route of qualifications, but you can also attend, and I will have the last of the slides, and that's it. That will be me done. Thank you. Last slide, please. If you don't go through the route of the qualifications, you have the opportunity to go to a job fair where employers will be there. You have that first approach of asking questions. If you like them, if they like you, they might invite you also to their own open days and an interview, the possibility of an interview. Recruitment events where you go to a particular employer and they will then take you through the process of the recruitment. If you go to Job Centre Plus and you ask the work coaches, they will be able to direct you to different employers. And if you know of any organization, you can apply directly to the organization, either online, or you can ask them to send you an application form, complete that, and then return that to them. And that is different ways of accessing social care. And that is basically me.
Thank you, Jose. That was really, really interesting, and I'll never forget that sandwich story now, I have to say. Thank you. I think what we're going to do now, I've asked if there are any questions to just put them in the chat box. But our next speakers are Cara, if you'd like to go first. Cara Taylor, she is an ambassador for Prince's Trust, and she attended one of their programs and has now gone into the care side of things as a care worker. So Cara, can I hand over to you, please?
Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. So my name's Cara and I'm 20. So I've been a support worker now since September, and I got mainly through it from doing the Prince's Trust. I did like a Get Into Health and Social Care like week course in August, and they taught you like skills and stuff you need, and which I already kind of know because like I've done a level 2 and a level 3 in health and social care prior to this, but I just never did anything with it. So then when I saw this opportunity, I thought, let's go for it in August. It was like a week online and taught you how to do online interviews. Since obviously it was during lockdown, so we'd never done it before, and they got me a job after this, and I've been doing it now since September, and I really enjoy being a support worker. It's very like fulfilling, and like the Prince Trust, I'm very grateful for them because like they've given me so many opportunities like this. I never thought I'd ever do this or imagine doing this, and here I am now. So yeah, I'm a support worker. So I enjoy it. It's all the way in Liverpool, which is like, because I'm from the Wirral, so it's an hour and a half away, but it's so fulfilling. Like getting to know people. I'm in a supported we're living, so it ranges from like some people don't need any help, like some service users you just need to make them food at a push, but then some service users, you know, they need like personal care, or you just administrate their meds, or you sort appointments for them, or help get them dressed and go out with them for the day because they're like insecure, or you never know. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can do in different houses with different needs. And you need to be a caring person, definitely, for this like type of job. Like, I like to treat others the way I want to be treated. Because at the end of the day, you're thinking like one day I might be in their boots or that position. So you've got to treat them with respect and dignity, and, you know, just treat them how you would like to be treated is definitely like a key feature, and like think of their needs and stuff like that, how would they feel. So yeah, I've been doing that, and I've also, because of this, like doing this, I've been able to like gain skills and and because I've already got the qualifications, but training that I've never done before. So I've recently been accepted to be a radiography assistant in a private hospital closer to home. So I'm grateful for that, but also it's as a radiographer, like assistant, so it'll be doing x-rays, MRIs, mammograms. So working with sort of like equipment and all that. So like there's different routes you can go down. You don't always have to stick with being in like the social care sector and like in a care home or independent living. You can do other things. As I just applied for the NHS website, looked at jobs, applied for a few, and I was grateful that I got accepted for the job interview for this one, and because of the skills that I'd got from being a support worker, as well as having that like the opportunities that Prince Trust have given me, they saw me as the right candidate for that job role. So I definitely would recommend like going out your way, applying for stuff and getting out your comfort zone. Like Prince Trust, I never thought I'd be able to do, never thought I'd be able to talk online to people. So definitely recommend that. I also did National Citizenship Service, which is known as NCS. That was really good as well. That got me out of my shell when I was a kid. I was about 16 when I did it in sixth form, and that got me out of my shell. Like we did volunteering and stuff, and I did the October one instead of the summer one, so no one ever did it. So you definitely get you out of the comfort zone, but you're all in the same boat as everyone else, so it was nice and stuff. And like I definitely do that as well, because that brought me out of the comfort zone. After that I got a job. So like I've not always worked in social health and social care. I used to work in retail. I've been like sales advisor for 1.5 years. I used to be a barista for 6 months. Like you know, there's different routes, but this is definitely the most fulfilling and like worthwhile. And I feel like this is for me. And like if I could tell my younger self, like what would I do? I'd say this. Like it was definitely a strong point when I was a kid, and I never thought, oh, it's like personal care, I can't do that, stuff like that. But honestly, no one enjoys it, but it's like 5 minutes of a 12-hour shift. You honestly, it's nothing, and you don't think about it. Honestly, I say it's 5 minutes of your day, boom, that's done, and you like it's more fulfilling. Like, and you got more gratitude from looking after these people and helping out. And I'd say one day it could be you or family and stuff. So yeah, I definitely recommend it, and like just make sure you've got a love for it. Because I went to study law for 1 year and I absolutely hated it. I don't know why I did it. I just thought, oh, money, all this, like that's what I thought. I never thought of myself, and honestly regret it. But now I'm in this sector and I really enjoy it.
Keep this call on for me while I go down.
So make sure you enjoy it and stuff like that. I highly recommend it.
Well, get
So
out
that's what
there.
I say. So thank you.
Well, I asked you to put my phone in charge and to get me a wife. I didn't realise that was the whole world. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you for that, Cara. I mean, one of the things that seems to be a common thread through there is about the passion, but those sorts of things you've tasted and tried, retail, barista and things like that, they all involve communication, which is very key within the role of a, you know, within the care role. So it's just evident what's coming through there. So thank you for that. And I wish you luck with your new role. That's amazing. So thank you. I'd like to next introduce Barbara Johnson. Get ready for Barbara. She's like an Alka-Seltzer. She's amazing. She's Director of Nursing at Caredale, the residential home, shall I say. So I'll hand over to Barbara. Thanks, Barbara.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being interested in social care. I tend to refer it to as health and social care because there's a real junction between the two. My job is to look after 680 staff and 330 of our most amazing residents in nursing care homes. Nursing care homes do come under the jurisdiction of social care. So we are very, very, very proud to welcome nurses into our workplace, and we really need them because their skills are absolutely phenomenal. What we pride ourselves on, and it's my personal passion, is for people to come and join us as healthcare assistants, and they could be coming directly from A-levels or from a diploma in health and social care, or they may come from school where they've been marginalised and made to feel that they are thick, that they can't achieve. And we take these people and we support and love and care for them, because if we do that, they'll support and love and care for the most important people in our lives, who are our residents. And so you can join care homes, and in my case with nursing, care homes with nursing, you can join them and you can become a healthcare assistant. You can be supported to do the literacy and numeracy qualifications that you need to go on to do either assistant practitioner, nursing associate, or the registered nursing degree programme. And it doesn't matter if you didn't do well at school. What matters is that we can support you through the literacy and numeracy. We can redo it. Doesn't matter if you failed maths and English at school. We can support you through it with teachers who can work with you to develop you to your full potential. You can then progress through, and you can earn a registered nurse's salary after you registered nurse's degree. Throughout the degree, you're sponsored by your employer. You are paid as a healthcare assistant, and you do not accrue any university debts whatsoever. Your employer pays it all, and you will have your salary all the way through your training. If you do the nursing degree through a care home scheme, then you will be a proper nurse at the end of it. You will go out to hospitals, community, mental health placements, and you will have the same registration as if you trained within the NHS. The NHS is marvellous. I cannot encourage you enough. If you want to be a nurse, you can go through the NHS or you can go through the care homes programmes. We all need lovely people who are really motivated to just deliver the best care that they possibly can. It's worthwhile, it's hard, it's challenging, but every single day you go home from work, I promise you, if you hadn't have been there that day, somebody's life would have been dreadful that day. And because you were there, your life, their life, has been changed just because you were there. Love, care, support, help. Yes, we've got to be professional. Yes, we've got to do everything right. Yes, it's difficult, but the people we love and care for deserve you to be there for them. So please come and join us. Please, please, please come into social care. Absolutely loved Cara saying that she went to do law. Obviously, you can see that she had the qualifications to go and do law for a year, and she changed her mind. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You can be 16 and join us. You can be 60 and join us, and we can still help you develop into whoever you want to be. And when you do develop into that person, we will celebrate with you and be there for you so that you look after the people who need you the most. You'll go home every night. I mean, it's far too early yet for you, but you might often, when you're older, you might often go home and have a glass of wine, but it's worth it. It's worth every single minute of every single day. Wouldn't change it for the world. And we have now got managers working in our organisation who were healthcare assistants with us several years ago, and the development opportunities are there. But you know, sometimes people just want to be a healthcare assistant, and it's not just a healthcare assistant. It's the backbone of how we love and care and get to know our residents and what they actually want. Please come and join us. You've made the first step. Please, please, please think about it. You'll be very, very, very welcome. We need good people. We need people who want to be here and who will help us love and care for everybody. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you've got.
Thank you, Barbara. As always, that was amazing wealth of experience that you've shared with us. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to Jose, to Cara, and to Barbara. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. I'll hand over to Leon.
I've just got a question for Cara, if that's okay, just before we go on to anything else. Cara, just from the Prince's Trust perspective, how do the courses work?
Oh, so what I originally did was I applied online, and you literally just like say like your name and then your email and stuff, and then literally like 2 days, 3 days later they rang you up and they make sure like it's okay for you. So they made sure I was all right, and they asked like where I lived, because it was like Merseyside, but because I'm from the world, they were kind of like, oh well, there's no job roles but on your side, but like we'll try it. And then they just sent me like a Microsoft Teams link a week later, and we did like from Monday to Friday 9 till 1, like an online sort of course kind of thing, just through Microsoft Teams.
So in terms of, you know, your like hobbies, interests and things like that, did they ask you things about that sort of like wider life experience in any way? From like
Yeah, they asked like what have you done before and stuff like that, and like what skills and qualities have you got, because like as well part of the thing was they taught you about what skills and qualities you'll need, and like because like at the end of it as well, at the end of the course they did like mock interviews, like online interviews, so like even though people might not have been confident, they sort of like helped you and they helped with your CV and stuff like that. So obviously you're sending your CV, because like in school they never taught me how to really like do a CV, so it wasn't really that good, so they help out with CV skills as well. So yeah, it's amazing.
Brilliant. And so there's been a question for all the speakers, so you can all take it in turns, but what is your favorite part of your role and your least favorite part of the role? We'll go to Barbara first, set us alight.
I was just very busy typing away then, telling you exactly.
Oh, were you? Oh, no.
Right.
The point of a radio show, Barbara, is to hear your voice.
The favourite part is knowing that I can make a difference and I can change our residents' world. I can also change the world for our staff. The worst is the awful reputation that some care homes have given the whole industry. And you know, the sooner that poor care homes don't exist, the better. But there are some amazing care homes out there who really do make a difference. So favourite, I can make a difference every day I come to work. And the worst is that some people will always believe that if you work in a care home, you haven't got a proper job.
Right, thank you. Cara, what about you? Because you said you talked through and you've seen a number of roles, haven't you? So
yeah, my favorite part is probably how rewarding it is, and like I just feel like some gratitude, and like like I'm happy in the job, like I feel really satisfied. And probably the worst part is probably kind of the same as Barbara, like there's sort of like a stigma and stuff like that, because I sort of tell some people, oh, I'm a support worker. Some people just think, oh, you just make a cup of tea all day, and you don't. It's more than that, you know. It's administering meds and booking appointments, and like depending on the service user, some might need more help than others. So it's more than just making a cup of tea, you know. It's like supporting people emotional well-being and like psychological and stuff like that, and helping them. But it's definitely rewarding, so that's probably my favorite part. I feel like I've done something like for the day.
And Jose, is he still with us? Is he listening? in the background.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because I'm a training coordinator, one of the things that we do is we train people who are already working in social care, as well as people who want to work in social care. So the best part of my days is precisely the sharing with all those, the ones that are already working and the ones that want to work, to share all those experiences and those skills, and to see that we are shaping a new phase of care with people that you can see are passionate, that they are committed, and you can make a difference. The best part of that is the sharing, the teaching, showing people my own experience and learning about theirs. The worst part, yes, reputation is, but we're changing the face of care already by that commitment. So the worst part is when you get so stuck on the administration side of it, and you lose a bit the perspective of dealing with people. So spreadsheets and timetables and all that make you, however, they are also important, because if we didn't have that sorted, we wouldn't be able to do all the other things that we do. But it's my least favorite part. My most favorite part is the dealing with people, the sharing and the communicating, and don't like talking, don't like talking.
I mean, it terrifies me when I look behind Barbara's head and I see that board, the organisation, and then I think what's in my head. That's kind of like my head, and in my brain. The organisation.
I'm not brilliant at spreadsheets, but it's a whole picture. That's all the registered nurses, APs and nursing associates that we have in the organisation, so that I can keep track of how everybody's doing.
Wow.
There's another question's come through, hasn't it, for
yes, we've had two questions. What kind of GCSE grades do we need, or what level 3 subjects are most useful? And then another one after that, we'll go through that. So what kind of GCSE grades are we looking at for social care? But I think, Barbara, you've mentioned that a couple of times in relation to, even if the grades aren't as high, or, for my case, I came out with no GCSEs, and I was a late bloomer and had to do functional skills, and really on my merit of volunteer work experience and talking well at interviews with colleges and universities to enable me to access a course that way. So what would you say in terms of GCSEs and the qualifications that way? I know, Cara, obviously you can talk from that perspective as well about qualifications. So I'll open the floor there. This is where you tell me I was on mute. So,
I think we were waiting for an invite, Leon, actually, but I don't care. I do not care what skills and qualifications people have. Of course, it's lovely if people have been very successful in the school arena and the college arena, and they come to us because they know that there is career progression and that they can get the nurse training paid for. Of course, it's wonderful, but it's also wonderful to support somebody who wasn't as successful. One of the first things when we employed a original literacy and numeracy teacher, qualified teacher, was that somebody came bursting through my door, and she was in her 50s, and she just shouted to me, "I can't believe it. All my life I've been told I'm thick. I am not thick. I've just never been taught properly before." And those kind of things are uplifting. They change your day. I don't care. And you know what? If somebody decides to come and work from us and they get up in the morning and commit their working life to us, we have a moral and ethical responsibility to develop them into whoever they want to be. And that doesn't matter if it's a certificate in toenail painting. If that fulfills them, that's fine. And it doesn't matter if it's a master's degree. If that fulfills them, they deserve it. If they're willing to commit their working lives to us, that's what we should do in health and social care to make sure that we get the right people and keep them.
Yeah, like Bob said as well, like you don't need him, like you get training, like I've got like a level 2 and level 3 in health and social care, which has helped. Like I've got less training than like other people I work with. Like you have to do a health certificate. You can get a health certificate from it, So they do train you and stuff like that. So you don't really need GCSEs and stuff like that. I know people I work with that don't have them, and they're scared. Like, so you can get a level 3 in my job. They'll teach you, and they're scared to do it because they've not got it, the GCSE. But they do teach you and stuff like that. It helps if you've got a level 2 and a level 3 like I have. I've just got less coursework, like course stuff to do, but you can still do it either or, as long as you've got the skills.
I've got good news and bad news for you. Good news, you do not need any qualification to come into the health and social care. You do not need any qualification. Bad news is that we are one of the most regulated sectors in services that we do. So we are professionals, and as professionals, we will be required at one point to have something, to have a qualification, to demonstrate the value academically of what we have in our hearts. Yes, the employer will take you through that qualification, but you do not need one to start with. So the employer, as they take you through their process of induction, will want you to complete level 2s, level 3s, depending on where they take you. I started with a level 2 in care, then I was made a team leader, therefore I had to do a level 3 in care. When I had to be the service coordinator, I went for the level 4 Register Managers Award. Now that I am training coordinator, I have a level 5 in care and in management. But all that has been as you go working. To start with, you only need passion, you only need commitment, you only need dedication, and the rest will come when you want it, when it's needed, and at your own pace.
Brilliant. And in terms of finding a job in the sector, is it difficult at this point in time to find a role to suit anybody?
I don't think so. I think there's, like, if anything, because of like the strain and stuff because of COVID, people don't think there is, and I think it's understaffed in a sense. Like, some places are really understaffed. I know my place is, because, you know, like, people are coming in sick and obviously you don't want to and stuff like that, and it's quite understaffed, and there's loads of jobs going. I'd say, like, I only applied for, like, I've got a recent new job coming up, and I only applied the other month, and there was about 25 jobs going on the NHS website. You just need to be on it, because there's so many people applying. They have, like, jobs every, like new jobs every, like, 1 or 2 days. I had to just keep refreshing it, because, like, there'd just be a different job every day. They just take it down so quick. So there are loads of jobs going, definitely.
Brilliant. And Barbara, to get a job with you?
Nice, good people, snap the hands off. Absolutely snap the hands off. And anybody, if they were completely staffed and a great person came along, you're an idiot if you don't take them.
In that sense, we are quite lucky in Liverpool Social Care Partnership, because another side of our business is to work with employers in funding and workforce development and all that. So we do know about many employers having vacancies. So our pre-employment program will give people a qualification, but part of that will also be that at the end of our program, we have a number of employers with vacancy, and we invite them to see if they want to participate in the program and offer an interview to the learners in that program. So the rate of success is quite high at times, because as you go through the program, you might become very focused on what you want to do, and those employers do not offer you that. But that's not the point. The point is that you will have the opportunity to have interviews, and the success rate could be at the moment in 80-something% of people who come through our program going into jobs, because those employers are just waiting for them. And like Barbara said, you know, I'll start them and I'll take them.
Sharon, what about you? Because you're talking to numerous people, obviously, in relation to health and social care. Are there any other avenues that our students and parents, carers and guardians and various other individuals listening today? Are there any other avenues that they should be exploring?
Yeah, I mean, you know, from a point of view of gaining some experience, you know, do some voluntary work as well. That always stands in good stead. And I know the NHS do look for volunteers, and it looked favourably when you do your personal statement. There's different routes. There's a cadet route into the NHS, and those programs which are specifically for people, you know, coming from school. So many different opportunities. It's just really looking at which avenue you want to go in, and then following, you know, the idea of just following the, actually speaking to organisations and asking them, you know, how you can join, because it's different. There's different routes for different age groups, and whether it's clinical or non-clinical, they're the sort of things you need to take into consideration as well. But I know there are so many vacancies out there, and as Barbara and Jose have said, and Cara, you know, the world's your oyster really at the moment. So it's a case of knowing what you want and going for it really, and seeking support and advice from, you know, people who've got the experience to help you.
Brilliant, lovely. Sarah, I think we're moving into the aftercare slides, I think. But as no further questions, thank you very much for our speakers again. And as I say, from 9 o'clock this morning till this time today, I've just been inspired by each hour and every person I'm speaking to in terms of health and social care. So thank you very much. Barbara, you have a fantastic, amazing break.
Thank you.
Cara, you've been amazing, and good luck with the next job.
Thank you.
Just keep moving through the ranks, eh? And,
Yeah,
we'll
thank
see
you.
you as a senior manager very soon.
Hopefully, eh? Thank you.
Brilliant. So I'm sure you guys really enjoyed that. I massively did. To round off just for the last kind of couple of minutes of the webinar, we're just going to talk to you about the aftercare support that we are able to provide. So this isn't a one-off. We do very much consider you a group of students that we want to carry on supporting throughout the rest of your time progressing into the NHS. And this is kind of a little bit of a summary of what that aftercare looks like. This is the first in a webinar series. There are 3 more at least that are going to take place. So we do encourage you, if you've got interest in other bits of the NHS, if you know you've got a friend who is perhaps interested in healthcare science or something like that, let them know. Or if you'd just like to find out a bit more, do come along. We'd love to have you. We will let you know of anything else that we do. So we are not sitting on our laurels and this is all we're going to do and that's the end of it. As we continue to develop more opportunities, we engage with different trusts. Leon has other ideas that we would like to do. We will let you know that they're happening. So you've got the chance to take advantage of other things as well. If you do have questions from this, so you've come away and you are thinking that you need to prep a CV, or you're interested in finding out a little bit more, you can get in touch with us, and we will sort of provide you with the support. So whether that is signposting you to the relevant person, putting you in touch with a recruitment team or an employer, sort of just giving you a little bit of direction, whatever it is, we can do that. And as part of that, you can also chat to some healthcare students on the Shaping Futures website as well. We've got a live chat function there. So if you wanted to actually speak to a few more people in the sector, that's available. We will send out a little summary document, which just says a little bit about this webinar and what you did. We would advise you to keep hold of that. You might want to pull back on it when you're writing an application form, when you're doing some reflection or anything like that. And then we do also have a post-event workbook. Reflective thinking is a huge part of the NHS and a huge part of working in social care. So this workbook, you can see a little screenshot of it on the side of your screen. That's designed to help you do that. I'll hand over to Leslie Ann, who beautifully designed the workbook, to just talk you guys through how it's used. And you will get all that sent out to you by myself tomorrow morning. We'll also send you a really short evaluation form, and we'd be really grateful if you filled it in. It just says how useful you found it, what else you'd like us to do, how we can improve in future, and if you've got any extra questions, you can kind of pop that down, and you'll get personalized response to that as well. So I'm just conscious that chat has lit up. So there are all of the links that you have got in chat. I will send those to you as well, and that includes the taster day. So we've got the flyer for that in a second, but I will also send that to you as a separate link so you can register if you're interested. So I will hand over to Leslie Ann now to just talk through her brilliant post-work booklet.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Just to reiterate what Sarah said, this really isn't just a one-off day. It is a series of events designed, to help support you as much as possible to make an informed decision. And that is why we involve pre and post work in every one of our events. It's not to be cruel and give you more work on top of all your studies, but it is to prepare you and help you make as informed career decision as possible. So with the pre-work, we set that so that you are prepared basically for what is on offer in the webinar to help you understand as much as possible. And similarly, we set post-work so you can reflect and basically record all the useful things that you've learned in each webinar. Now, as Sarah said, this is one of many events. That is a lot of information for you to take on and digest and think, well, what am I supposed to do with it? So this roadmap helps you do that. So for each stop along the roadmap, you can, so for example, today's one, you'd go to Step into Social Care, 22nd of April, and there is a space for you to record any tips, any useful information, and most importantly, evaluate your interest in that job role or in that sector. There are some instructions at the top to explain exactly how to do that. Very quickly, just give it a ranking out of 10, 10 being it's the most wonderful job I've ever heard of, 0 is I've got no interest, and explain your thought process. Why do you feel the way you do about what you've heard about that sector? Then what happens is once you've completed, you've attended all of our events, you've completed that section for every one of those events, you've then got a whole picture of your thoughts and feelings about health and social care. That allows you to filter what you are interested in and what you're not interested in. And then we've got a final research task on the second page of that workbook where you pick the 2 areas that you're most interested in, and then you use them for further research, and there's plenty of support in the booklet there to support you with that. And obviously you can come to us if you need any advice or guidance on that last research task at the end of the series. Thank you.
Brilliant. So as I mentioned, you will get this tomorrow. Please do spend a little bit of time filling it in. It's really useful. We have had 2 earlier sessions and we had great feedback from the students about how they were able to use this booklet as well. And Leon has asked us to highlight this one as well. It's an event, it's a couple of weeks away at the start of June, and basically like a virtual careers fair. We know that normally your schools would be taking you to different places to get to speak to lots of people, and that's not able to happen at the moment. But this hopefully goes some of the way towards kind of working with that. Leon, did you want to add anything on this?
No, only that I hope that this June 2nd, and I hope Leslie Ann, I'm hoping that's a week, that's the Whitsun week, so I'm hoping that students are off that week. So as I say, it would be really good for you to join us on that one.
Brilliant. So that's everything from us. We've only kept you 5 minutes over time, so that's not too bad. Thank you all so much for taking the time after school on what's a really nice day when you might want to be in the park to come along and hear from us and our speakers today. We're really grateful. And if you do need anything, please do just get in touch. We're really happy to help. And that's everything from us. So please do feel free to head off.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Now she puts a camera on.